What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Um, my weekend was busy, so that's always good. Anytime I have a busy weekend, that means more money in my pocket. So, yeah, shout out to the busy weekends because, I'm hoping for more and more of those, as the days go by. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is Coffee Talk. We get over here every morning around 10:30. Today, I'm a little late today. It's okay. It's okay. It's Monday. It's not a manic Monday. It's just, Monday. That's all. I got plans. I got things on my list I tend to tackle today. And, I'm moving in aggressively. I'm moving in aggressively, trying to tackle the things I need to get done. So, by the end of the week, I have energy for, the switch up. It's an attack on our food, y'all. It's stressful. I'm gonna tell you, coming over here to the internet and trying to find things, I don't have to look so hard. Sometimes I guess it's harder than others. Not because there's not information there, but I don't want to get over here and stay focused on all of the things that we deal with from day to day that have us stressed out. So I kind of, try to, make it in a way that we can talk about things, discuss things, things that are Black excellence, things that are Black history, some current events, some celebrity gossip, and some of the things that run across my timeline. So we want to be informed. We want to maintain, uplifting our community, and we want to escape. And so, let's hope that some of, we get a little bit of all of that over here. Yeah, I will always support the side that wants people fed, housed, educated, and treated with dignity. That's not so hard. I don't know why it seems to be a thing. Good morning, T. I don't know why it seems to be a thing in this country where just the basic necessities are something that's, being so difficult. So difficult. And that's intentional. Like, can we turn the lights on? Can we go to the grocery store and eat food? I I'm a foodie. I like to eat, but just lately it's just stressful. Even like I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. Quick story before we move on to the next thing. I got T here because I was on the phone with her when this happened. So I think, I was moving in ignorance yesterday, just a little bit. Am I sorry? Not at all. Sometimes, you got to get ignorant. And in that moment, I felt like that's what I needed to do. So I'm not the type of person that's going to sit up here and say sorry, that because I'm not. I didn't even have to share this with y'all, but we're friends, we're family over here, we're a community all in our own. And so, yesterday, tell me, if this is an irritation to you, because it irritates us. It's one of the things I hate the most. I don't know if this happens, where you live, but this is a thing where I live. So I'm in the grocery store yesterday. It wasn't like a big shop. I only had a few things to get. I would say I had probably 10 things in my basket. So it's Sunday afternoon. I'm standing in my local Walmart, the place that I hate to be, but the way these prices is, child, I'm doing the best I can. So I'm standing in the aisle. I'm on the phone with T. This lady is in another aisle, but she backs up. She backs up and slides herself in between me and the person I was standing behind. And so her husband is holding a spot in one line, and this lady just decided she gonna hold a spot in front of me, even though I was already standing there. Okay. So I'm telling T like out loud, loud enough for her to hear, because that was my intention. I wanted this lady to know, look, I see what you did. I could have just been like, I'm standing here, but I feel like that would have started, it didn't change anything. Shit got popped off. Anyway, I'm telling T like this lady just squeezed her ass in between me and the person that I was just standing from. Now her and her husband are holding up two lines. This gets on my damn nerves. Let me just say this was not a white woman, so it wasn't that. This was a Black woman, somewhere from, one of the islands. I don't know which one, because I can't tell just by looking at her. But I know she was, from the Caribbean. And so maybe culturally they do things a little different over there. But this woman knew dead ass that she was wrong. She knew she was wrong. people understand you don't get to do that. Pick a line. Like, why are you standing in two lines now? And if she was already there, it probably wouldn't have been a thing for me. I would have been irritated. But the fact that she backed up and squeezed in between me and the person that was in front of me pissed me off, because I'm like, how? I'm already standing here. I don't know what you got going on. So when she realized that I was talking about her, she turned around. She looked at me. So I tell T, I said, now she looking at me crazy, like she, realizing that I'm talking about her. So she says to me, I was already here. Meanwhile, T is on the phone going, because she understands that I'm no longer talking to her and now I'm talking to this lady in front of me. She said, I was already here. I said, you were not. I just sat here and watched you squeeze in between me. And so I continued talking to T. I'm talking smack about her. I'm like, they kill me when they do that. That pisses me off. I'm venting loud enough for her to hear me. And then what did she say to me? I can't remember. I can't remember what was the next step in the conversation, because I had my earphones in, so I couldn't really hear her like that, but I heard her enough. And I don't know what she said, but my response was, shut the fuck up. Sorry. We real early in for me to be throwing back F-bombs. I said, shut up. And she said, shut up. You're a jerk. And I said, I am a jerk. And you're a jerk too. And you're stupid. Now, by now, I've turned into a toddler. And T is like, hey, whoa, what's going on? What's happening? And so, yeah, eventually, she shut up, because I'm like, you've already cut in front of me. Stop looking at me. Stop talking to me. Shut the F up. You know what I'm saying? Because you done did it now. Like, what's going to happen? So now her husband backs up the basket and tries to squeeze the basket in between me and the person that I was standing, behind initially. So I was like, I knew they were going to do that. So I let it go for a minute. And then I look up and I see the line that she left is basically the same thing. So I pushed past her. I said, can you move out of the way, please, so I could go stand in the spot where you were standing? And she says, that's what you should have done in the first place. So can y'all please make it make sense? Is that, you said it went left real quick. Is that what I should have done in the first place? What I should have done is move to the spot where your husband was already standing. Am I wrong, y'all? Is that okay? Why are we holding up lines? And then we got finished at the same time anyway. So she did all of that just to be leaving at the same time as me. I consider myself an elder. So for me telling the lady, shut the F up, I don't feel bad about it. And, don't judge me. I didn't have to share that. But I just, can we stop? We already stressed out. This is black on black crime over here. And I was pretty much probably the cause of it. So there's that. Anyway, on to the next thing, I'm trying to do better most of the time, but that wasn't one of the times. Let's get started. I probably am going to be doing this for a while, because it's just, I feel like we need to recognize and keep saying these people's name. So, until things changes,
These are the people who were lynched by hanging from the year 2000 to 2026. Help me say their names. Raynard Johnson. He was found hanging from a pecan tree outside his home in Mississippi. Frederick Jermaine Carter, found hanging from a tree in Greenwood, Mississippi. Otis Bird, found hanging from a tree by a bedsheet in Mississippi. Willie Andrew Jones Jr. His body was found suspended from a pecan tree in the yard of his white girlfriend's family home following an argument with his girlfriend. Rasheem Carter was reported missing on October 2nd. Before he vanished, he contacted his mother Tiffany, stating that he was actively being stalked and threatened and chased by a group of white men driving 3 different trucks in Mississippi. His remains were later discovered and he was decapitated and his genitalia was placed in his mouth. Investigators are claiming that this was due to wild animal scavenging. Maurice Richardson was found hanging from a beam in a carport at an abandoned house in a rural county. Damar Travion Reed was found hanging from a tree on his Delta State University campus. Torrance Medley was found hanging on a golf course from a tree with a strap around his neck. Earl D. Smith was found hanging from a tree in New York. The police department quickly ruled his death as suicide. Kyle Basinga was found hanging from a tree in Fair Oaks Park in Georgia. Juliana Nitzia was only 16 years old when she was found hanging from a tree in Charlotte, North Carolina. She had been initially reported by her family, and within 3 days, the Mecklenburg County medical examiners ruled her death a suicide. Tonia Nicole Miller was found hanging from a tree in Florida just days ahead of her Juneteenth celebration, which she was looking forward to. Gerard Jackson was found hanging from a tree in Michigan. Gerard traveled from Illinois with a group of friends to attend the Electric Forest Festival. The official preliminary ruling was that it was suicide. Tasia Fortune was a black mother of 4 whose body was found hanging from a tree behind a vacant house. Her body was suspended so high that they needed a fire truck ladder to get her down. Her mother rejects the idea of suicide. Dr. Stacey Turner, the Mississippi Chief Medical Examiner. The core issues surrounding Dr. Stacey Turner stem from allegations of systemic bias, mislabeled causes of death, and obstructive forensic practice. In 2021, Damian Cameron died after witnesses reported 2 deputies kneeling on his back and neck for over 15 minutes. Despite arriving with clear internal bleeding in his neck, Dr. Turner ruled the death undetermined. Families attempting to seek a second opinion have reported that Dr. Turner's office retained vital bodily structures, preventing independent pathologists from verifying her findings. This is most widely known right now with the Nolan Wells case. She is also the medical practitioner on Tasia Fortune's case. The outrage is so severe that tens of thousands of people have signed viralchange.org petitions demanding that the state board immediately revoke her medical license and remove her from office before she determines that Tasia Fortune was also a suicide. Black people do not hang themselves from trees. May they all get the justice they deserve. My deepest condolences to all of their loved ones. Rest in peace. These are the people who were lynched by hanging from the year 2000.
This is like, it's happening way too often. First comment, uh, we ain't mad enough. I agree with that. That's why I want to keep talking about it. That's why I want these names to be said as often as possible, because the way we operate in this current, you know, just the current times that we're living in, we forget things real fast. We scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and on to the next thing. Dr. Stacey Turner, all eyes on her. Pressure on Stacey Turner. Surveillance, flock that lady, flock that ass. Dr. Stacey Turner, let's get her flocked. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what she doing. Let's see what it feel like, to have all eyes on Dr. Stacey Turner. So yeah, let's make it a constant. The only way to, like, I feel like, deal with these things is put the pressure on these people. Good morning to go to Africa. Yeah, you walked in right when I was getting all worked up. Pressure on Dr. Stacey Turner. Let's all do our research. Let's Google this lady so many times that the folks handle her the way she needs to be handled. Let's get that license, because clearly, she's working for the KK and the other K. This comment, so you mean to tell me that wild animals are so advanced that they can decapitate, disassemble, and place genitalia in the same person's mouth? Yes, and we're supposed to just be okay with that. Why aren't they reporting on these wild animals? If those wild animals are running around in Mississippi, it's not safe for anyone. Um, this is this is why they're not reporting on it. So Saturday when I'm at work, I'm longtime client. This is one of my clients that I've been doing for probably the last 20 years. White woman. And we have a lot of candid conversation. Most of my clients that I deal with that are non-melanated, we can have these conversations without becoming uncomfortable. So we're talking, and I brought it up to her because I got to keep talking about it. I can't sit with some white people in front of me and not get an idea like, so how you feel about this? So I first brought up Indiana, and I was like, hey, did you hear about Indiana, like Gary, Indiana being out without power? Good morning, high vibe. And she was like, no, really? I didn't know that. 12 days without power in Indiana. And, non-melanated in America don't know nothing about it. I'm guessing it's because, they're not paying attention. Even the ones that think they're allies, they're just not paying attention to what's going on within our community because they're unaffected. So will she be an ally at the polls? Absolutely. But does she understand? This is what they talk about, walking in the same shoes of somebody else. No, she didn't hear about it. I said, really? You didn't hear about it? Did you hear about all the black people that are getting hung? Let's get into it. She's like, what? Another story, like completely oblivious. So I sent this to her so she'll be informed. And I sent her other videos. You know what I'm saying? So she'll be informed. So the next time I talk to her, we can have a conversation about, what's next. Because being oblivious, like, what are you watching? Why don't you know? Good morning, Jaguar. Why don't you know what's going on? And it's because, like, we have to take it a step further. I feel like we are having these conversations with each other, but we need to go ahead and put the pressure on them too. Let's have the conversations and see where they stand on some of the things that affect us. See if they really about that life or if they just, pretending. The power company said the power will be restored tomorrow. Fingers crossed. I hope so. The power company also turned down help from, whoever that NIPSCO. It's other stuff going on. I think, we hear so much. I don't know how much of it is true or not true. I do like to do my own research before opening my mouth about things, so I can say I heard. I won't necessarily bring it over here just to find out it's a fake story, but I believe it. A lot of data centers over there in Gary, Indiana, and Memphis is out of power. 100,000 people in Memphis are today without power. So a lot of data centers going up in Memphis, and so they I seen the percentages somewhere. Again, I don't, I may come across it again, I'm not sure, but the percentages of black population in Memphis and in Gary, it's like over 75%. So yeah, we got to keep talking about it and put pressure on your white friends, your work friends. When you go to work, open up these conversations. See, how they really feel, how much they start stuttering. You know, everybody getting pressure, especially Dr. Stacy Turner. Whew. We 18 minutes in and I'm already, elevated. Let me bring it on back down. The truth The truth, black people are test dummies for the surveillance of population and overthrow of this country. It's time for us to exodus. That's where I'm at with it today. We're gonna talk about it. You sent me a video. Jaguar, keep me on top of things. Um, what is it about? Let me just go look right now. What is it about, Jaguar? You send me a video. Let me go over here and see what's going on. Just in case, before we get into the black excellence. I appreciate y'all for passing on information that you have. I was sitting up here last night and I literally just I just got stressed out because I'm like, what? I, I can only, like I said, live my life right now in a place of okay, so I'll check this out after I'm done, Jaguar. I'm living in a place of I gotta go ahead and try to enjoy every day as much as I can. I can't allow my mind to be inundated with all of this all of the time because it's not healthy. It's just not healthy. So we have to be aware. I feel like press these people with these conversations. See who's really an ally and who ain't. Maybe they can get a piece of sweet potato pie for the holidays. That's it. That's all. No cookouts. No sitting at dinner tables and things. Okay, let's start with a little. Let's switch it up a little bit. Um, we've talked about him before. Black entrepreneur opens his own gas station using plastic to create gasoline. Julian and Alexander Brown is turning plastic waste into potential source of fuel. Though his natural jab project in Georgia, Brown has developed 5 portable prototypes using solar powered microwave pyrolysis. I practiced this and I still came over here. Pyrolysis. The process heats plastic in an oxygen-free environment, breaking it down into vapors that can be condensed and refined into fuel alternatives such as gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. I love the way the mind of a scientist works. It's just so interesting. Brown calls the resulting fuel plastoline and has demonstrated the technology by powering vehicles including a Dodge Scat Pack and a Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce, that's a big old engine, ain't it? um, Rolls Royce Dawn. His bigger vision is to create collection and fueling stations where people could bring plastic waste and potentially turn it into usable energy. The idea challenges the way we think about waste. If yesterday's plastic could be tomorrow's fuel, this is awesome. I do remember at one point this boy had to go hide because the folks was, upset with him because, he's offering alternative fuel and probably clean cleaner air than what's you know than what's being used right now. um we all need to adopt that philosophy. Which philosophy is that? Like just living each day and enjoying what you can. We have no choice, especially us that are on the other side of 50. There's only so much we can do, so we have to at least be an example and talk to the ones that are in the heat of it right now. When anybody, I would say from 25 and up, should be people that we're really targeting. This is a young man that's over here, creating alternative fuel options. So again, it's a black man, but we do excel at inventing, don't we? Historically, this is what we do. Um, No, no, no. I wasn't worried about you endangering the channel, Jaguar. I was just wondering if it was something I needed to, look at so we could talk about it now if it's in the subject. So that's it. That's all. I mean, I don't feel like anybody could be any danger to my channel more than myself because sometimes my mouth can get reckless. It's about the lynchings. Okay, well, let's look at it before before we get too much more into it. Let's look at this video that Jaguar sent over here. Let's see. I'll go here. It's so crazy. I feel like, we can't things we need to do. Don't really try to be by yourself. I'm sure y'all have heard by now the 63-year-old woman that we talked about the other day. Um, she was found unalived. Let's go ahead and see this video that Jaguar sent. Oh, it's taking me somewhere else. Let me just make sure y'all are still here with me because I'll be looking at it. There we go. I just want to make sure we can hear it. Was that it? Let me see. I'm over here trying to do stuff on the fly. Well, that was Carlos Miller. Yeah, that's the same. We don't hang ourselves from trees. That's for damn sure. I think it's deeper than that. They already know that. They already know that. And so it's just the fact that how things are moving is almost like the way a serial unaliver moves. And I feel like it's a group of them. And it's not just Mississippi, it's all over the place. So, for instance, I was watching, this is not about a lynching, but this is how ICE is moving around here, frozen water people. I saw a video the other day here in Orlando. A man was at a gas pump and the frozen water people just walked up to him and put him in handcuffs, talking about he's an immigrant, no asking him for ID or anything like that. So I'm very concerned about people moving, walking, all of those things by yourself. At this point right now, everything that we thought was safe is actually not safe. So if you have to go somewhere, and you try not to be by yourself, just try very hard not to be moving by yourself, because what was normal just isn't normal anymore for us. You said that's the key. We cannot be, you said we could be mad, but we have to move more vigilant, try to avoid traveling alone and traveling with some kind of protection. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, to take a step above that, like, I don't know, formulating a plan. My daughter works late at night, and so, um, my daughter works late at night, so her being in her car is a conversation we really need to have a discussion about, because don't stop and get no gas. Don't you, she's good about having gas and stuff before she leaves, so I don't think that's an issue. But we just have to have a plan. Like, let me know when you're leaving. Text me just to let me know you're on your way. Not just me, let your man know too, so people are aware of your time and where from one location to another, listening out, definitely having your location on. Good morning, Lotus Egyptian Flower. You said they still unalive people in front of a large groups of people. Being with others will not save people. It won't save you, but it will definitely help. Even if it's a matter of, call somebody, everybody get on, your social media, make it live. Make sure these people that are doing these things are, visible to us. So, you know, we can't do nothing, we can't do nothing. So, at the very least, that's the advice I got for right now. The best we can do is make sure that we are at least traveling together in pairs, not being in places that's not doesn't have a lot of populated, just the time of day that you do things. Don't be in parking lots where there's nobody really around. Like, even if it's your neighborhood and you felt like you were comfortable before, don't be so comfortable, because, it's rough out there. And again, on the backside of that, embrace every single second that you have that's going to, bring energy and positivity, because I feel like that's where you really get your strength from. You know, the fear is designed to make us weak. So we should be aware of it, but we can't be overcome by it. Meet the first Black woman licensed by both NASCAR and ARCA. I love to see us in places that we don't normally see us in. Tia Norfleet became the first Black woman to be licensed by both NASCAR and ARCA, breaking barriers in one of motorsport's most expensive and competitive industries. I wonder who, got her behind the wheel of the car. Probably her grandfather or somebody, that she was up under growing, uncle or somebody that she was around growing up. She began racing as a teenager and made her NASCAR debut in 2012, finishing 23rd at the Motor Mile Speedway. But getting behind the wheel was only part of the challenge. Norfleet has spoken openly about the enormous cost of racing, from cars and equipment to track time, professional crews, with sponsorship becoming one of the biggest obstacles. I think that's an obstacle. Aside from trying to keep us out, getting the money to do these things, sports, other activities are very expensive when you really become involved in at a competitive rate. Her goal was never to just race. She wanted to help create a path for those who would come after. Her journey shows that breaking a barrier is only the beginning. The real legacy is making the road easier for the next person. Absolutely. So, um, when you have these people in your family, like, sponsorship is a big deal, and you don't always have to rely on big, you see the cars that have Tide and Coca-Cola on the side. You don't have to rely on those sources to get sponsorship. Being in your community, this is a good way for your community to come together, organize, sponsor a child or two or three or however many more you feel like your community can raise money for, and get them in the position to be active. You know what I'm saying? There's different ways to reward kids, grades and, attendance, just like, some of the other schools are doing. So I love this. And I think it's great to see, a Black woman at the face of something that we don't necessarily see. You know what I'm saying? We don't see a whole lot of women race car drivers at that, but to see a black one, gorgeous girl, so we have to think about that when you're going off to school and you try to get those great big scholarships. Sometimes you end up better just going for a small scholarship, 2,000, 5,000, 1,000 here and there will get you through a semester, if not two. So, let's see. What are y'all saying? Exercise your Second Amendment. Yeah. Uh, you said this isn't for us. Maybe our generation, but our ancestors face worse. We stand on their shoulders. I was thinking the same thing. High vibe. I mean, I think it takes nothing but a little research for me to come over here and you guys and we have these conversations. And I feel like when we have conversations like this, I know I walk away feeling smarter and more informed than I was, when I came here. So that's always important, and that'll take the opportunity to share it with the next person. So yeah, we did not endure not even a ounce of what I feel like. I've lived a very privileged life in this United States as a black woman. I cannot compare my life to, and then when I say privilege, not even compared to, I'm not talking about white privilege. I'm talking about, what you're saying, high vibe, is that it's been a very cushy, you know what I'm saying, life. Even inside my struggle, my worst struggles, I don't feel like compared to what our ancestors went through. So, at the very least, I can get over here and do my part, even if it's just run my mouth for today. And if there's something else I can do actively, I'm definitely going to jump on it. They don't give people the opportunity to exercise their rights. Those racist demons don't respect any of their lives. Oh, here I go getting in y'all's conversation. Um, it can be difficult for Black women to get sponsors, yeah, but I mean, that's why I said in a community, like, just imagine if us, like, if for us that are not donating like big dollars, $20. I've given $20 to a nature reserve company. You know what I'm saying? Just because me and my daughter were going into the bookstore, um, and the girl was poached outside, and first of all, it was a black woman, so we took the time to listen to her. She was so charismatic and talked me out of my $20 and had me joining a membership. So and it was about preserving nature and things of that. So it resonated with me. It wasn't like I got bamboozled, but for us to give, there's a lot of times where these kids will be in the parking lot raising money for their cheer team or dance team or football team, and they'll have a box of candy, and they're like, man, and I never buy the candy. I'm like, here's my money. So just little things like that makes a difference. Like, if you have these kids standing in front of the store, if all of us that went inside the store and gave them $5, $10, whatever it is within your budget, then they got their whole team's uniforms. It's little small things, I think, a lot of times that make the difference. We're always thinking on a large scale. So if they're getting sponsorship from small businesses and for their community, the community can host all kinds of things, bake sales, car washes. You know what I'm saying? The community can do a lot more, I think, than we realize, even when we're broke. Even when we broke, we got $1 probably. Um, Good morning, Ja Tony. Ja Tony, you've been missing. You was in here in and out the other day. We was about to send the APB out on you. Make sure you straight. You would be around and then you disappear. And we like, where you at? But we glad you're back. Um, let's see. How many black people gave $20 to Obama's campaign? Not enough. Not enough. We see it all the time. Jasmine Crockett was out here, looking for, and this is the thing, like when they're looking for donation money and like with Jasmine, and she was just asking for $5, I believe, and you're like, that's not my district, that's not my state. Yeah, that doesn't matter because you're talking about donating to a campaign, because one can lead to another, can lead to another. Right now, it's a lot going on in Florida, and so, child, let me don't start. We'll talk about that a different day. Um, you said, I know I'm extremely blessed because I've never had any white person call me the N word to my face. um Me either, to go to Africa. Maybe, like, I remember an instance, like, from a car, some dudes were yelling, but then, road rage, it's whatever. I don't even remember why, but that's a small thing. um in terms of, like we were saying, what our ancestors went through. um yeah, so shout out to Miss Tia to be licensed, and then she can bring up, the next one and the next one. And it's not just NASCAR. The NFL, the NBA, the WNBA, like, all these organizations are owned by white people. Like, in a real, like, fantasy, it would be wonderful if we had our own football league and our own, back in the day they did the Negro League. Back in the day, they did. I probably worked very much in their benefit, rather than, I realized there were breakers and, trailblazers and things of that nature, but they usually don't reap the benefit. They usually don't reap the benefit. They deal with all of the hate that goes along with being the only. And why do it? Like, why constantly be trying to, put yourself in a position that the people don't want you there? If it's a neighborhood full of folks that don't want me there, I damn sure don't want to live there. I could definitely make another decision, and be somewhere. I'm never going to be somebody that's so adamant about being the only person in a room of people that don't want me there. Peace out, y'all. I can go find somewhere else to be. Um, Florida is an example of a redistricting. I can never say that. I don't know why. There's words I feel like that I had used to have no problem saying, and now all of a sudden it's a struggle. Redistricting. That still ain't it. Wasserman got elected. I know. I hated that high vibe. And another thing Florida did was, only 25% of people came out to vote. 75% of registered voters did not. And so maybe had some of those people got up and went to go vote, there would have been a different outcome. I can't tell you, like, I'm so glad, like, my girls are motivated to go do it. It's a conversation that, we have to make sure that our schedules are aligned so the thing gets done. Unfortunately, too often that 12 can become more like a lynch mob than the 6. Look at what happened to Carmelo Anthony. You talking to Jaguar. I'll be all in the middle of the conversation. Um, you said I think there are people who support Jasmine Crockett and Stacey Abram, but it's the black elite who do not really get behind them. Quite possibly. Hey, Steven, that's your boy. Don't let me start nothing. Woo. Um, yeah. I, we just go on a day to day basis have to start looking at things completely different. Um, we just gonna have to start looking at things completely different. Cause if nothing changes, nothing changes, and that's for damn sure. So we sitting around, going, oh man, we have to be proactive. Oh man, ain't gonna work. It's just not. This is how you're proactive. Meet Krista Barfield, the founder of the largest Black woman-owned produce farm in America with more than 128 acres in Pennsylvania. How'd she get that? Her people. Her people, this has to be a generational. um this is gonna have to be how we look towards um taking care of ourselves, is learning how to grow. We don't need 128 acres. We just need a little bit. And a lot of us, I'm saying us, don't have the first idea on where to start. So start small. Start with herbs. Take I say herbs because they're easy and don't need a lot of space. But We need to all be taking initiative, just like you teach your kids to wash their face, brush their teeth, comb their hair. I feel like at some point we need to teach them, agriculture. It needs to be part of our natural way of life. I grew up, my grandmother, this is in Michigan, my grandmother had a pear tree, and every season we had preserves. Like, she would go through the whole process of preserving her peaches and pears, and things that she needed throughout. The way we live, convenience has turned us into a society that's dependent on a government that's determined to destroy us. And if we had not given up those things, like when you look at farming in terms of how slavery, free labor, um, built this country. It's not that. It's more about us learning how to take care of ourselves. My uncle always had gardens, and then the kids grow up and they don't want to have any part of it. I think agriculture should be a part of our household training. Period. Whether you want to continue to do it is up to you, but you at least should have the knowledge to know how to do it, especially in times like these. It's not too late. So, if now is the best time as any to get started. If you don't know, now is the time to learn one little bit at a time. Some people are advanced, and community gardens should be a big thing. Community gardens, depending on what your community look like. And I feel like I would prefer, our community to start looking more like us. Um, I'm out of the conversation. I'm glad y'all, I'm glad y'all are having a conversation about this over here. I don't want to get thrown off, so I'm gonna carry on. So yeah, agriculture, I think, for us is very important. Unfortunately, the system is designed for them to fail. Uh, I don't know who is them. I was thinking though, like this morning, just when I was putting this together, and I was thinking, what if we had a mass exodus of Black people from this country? Um, what would that look like? What would that look like? Where would we start? Where would we go? Um, I think it's something that needs up. Me personally, I think first step, everybody that doesn't have a passport needs to get one. And at least have a few options of where you would like to go. Um First step, like I said, that's the first step. Um you said we don't understand our history. Too many have looked at agriculture as less sophisticated and impoverished life, but look at us now. Everyone is talking about starting gardens. Yeah. And I fall in that category. I just feel like convenience. And one thing I stopped doing like some years ago is eating food out the microwave. Um, I don't even have a reason. It just didn't feel right for it just didn't feel right. Some things just in your sensibility that you're like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So I don't eat microwave food. I don't take food to work and put it in the microwave. It's just, I don't have no research, no nothing. It's just my spirit telling me not to do it, so I don't. But I feel like convenience is the reason why we're in the state that we're in. The exodus is happening for black people that can afford it. Right, right. Um, I feel like, unfortunately, that's how the world works. Um, I don't have an answer for people that can't afford it, but I feel like at a very basic level, you can at least work towards getting your passport, so that if somebody that can afford it can help you, you know what I'm saying, get out, at least you have the paperwork to do it. Um, and I feel like maybe, some people are so comfortable. If you can't drill it into people, um, what's going on, that what's happening is you're not turning a blind eye to it. preparation is very important. Right now, we all in the same boat in terms of trying to get out of here. I think a small mind mentality is not going to change unless people leave their environment. And a lot of people are afraid to. You have people, here, and they're like, a hurricane's coming. Y'all need to evacuate, and people will sit there and be like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit here in this house, you know what I'm saying, and weather the storm. And that's, probably the most unsmart thing you can do. So if you have that mentality that I'm going to just sit here, and maybe, some people have no desire. Some people have no desire to leave the country. And if that's the case, then, it is what it is. You're going to have to live with, what is here. But I just feel like, like I said, at the very least, you could have a passport and an envelope with it. I'm not really sure about the plane. I think my exodus will be via boat, because I don't need the gamers to be, my air traffic controllers. And then once you leave the country, you can move from one country to the next. It's just about, like, getting out of here. Because, what are they going to do? They don't want us here. So if we're not here, then, they're just going to eat each other. um you said I have an ironclad contract with a party you want to align with in order to get those funds. We might need to, like, get more information about that, Jaguar. We might need to get more information about that. Whatever you're willing to share. Um, you said you rarely use your microwave. It only takes a few minutes to reheat food. Yeah, it takes a few minutes. It tastes better. Like I said, I don't have no research. I don't know. Um, I have there's certain things that, you do. Like, I used to have this cup that was like, Stanley cup style, and I would be drinking my water out of it, like, because, ooh, it's so cold. And then one day I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this material. I mean, I'd rather just have room temperature water than cold water that's making me feel like it might be getting me sick. I don't know. Um, and so if my instincts say don't do it, then I'm not gonna do it. You said we all need to think about having gardens if it's possible, because people are dying from produce such as blueberries, peppers, everything to go to Africa, everything. That's not by accident. Um, Unfortunately, 2020, what is it? The 2025, they laid it all out for us. And we were so focused on Epstein files that I feel like the 2025 project, I think we were so focused on Epstein files. There's a lot of things that we didn't pay attention to. A lot of times the verbiage is designed for you not to understand. And so it's, instead of taking that second step and going, what does this mean? Was like, Epstein files. Did you hear this? And nothing has even happened with that. Nothing has happened. Meanwhile, black kids are hanging in their like suicide. So, um, yeah, it's right there set out for us, and we're not paying attention. There's 2 more years left in this administration. I don't know what's going to happen when it's all over, but I would like to have um things in place to bounce, even if it's not forever. That's what they do. High vibe. They be eating each other. That's what they do. That's why they so focused on zombies. You ever notice that they made a whole series about people eating each other? I don't zombie. A zombie apocalypse. I'm not fighting my way through that. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense for me to sit in my house with a big old shot pow pow, waiting on a zombie, to come to the bedroom window. That's stupid. I'm not doing that. So, that's what they do. I feel like they're already kind of halfway there. Oof, disgusting. On to the next. Let's see. Millions of Americans are allegedly banned from growing food in their own yards because of government. Whether you can grow dinner at home may depend on a book instead of your soil. Some states protect gardens, but private HOA covenants can still restrict visible food crops where local law stays silent. So it's a law, and it's here. It's here. Miami Shores made a Hermine Ricketts and Tom Carroll remove a 17-year garden in 2013, showing how quickly aesthetics can outrank food. Many suburban buyers entering an HOA, the fine print can decide who gets to grow. Um, do you know who's on your the board of your HOA? I think that's a lot of what people's problem is. Um, I think regulations are fine, but restrictions are what gets into starts causing problems. I get when they're talking about not parking the cars on the lawn on the grass and that kind of thing. The homeowners associations get really really um, in your business. Who are they? Know who's on the board. I feel like you should also, like, if you have a homeowners association, join your community. Join your community page. See like what other people in your community are going through. I'm a renter, so I don't get too involved, but I do see what the concerns are when it comes to the HOA. Um, so you have to, I mean, know who's on the board. Just like this lady over here in Mississippi, the coroner, Stacy, whatever her name is. We're gonna keep saying her name. Um, you have to know who's on the board of the HOA. You need to attend the meetings so that you can, before you start your garden, which is a crazy thing. I think HOA should be dealt with, period. They should be done away with. I feel like there should be just basic guidelines for neighborhoods, and that's it. So the problem is disunity. I love how y'all are going in over here. Um, yeah, like I said, follow your community page so you know what's going on. I think that's a big part of the problem too. If there's more of you than there is people, who's deciding these things? They be sitting in there, um, they sit in there and they make these decisions because nobody's there to hold them accountable. You should be able to have a garden in your backyard. So, I feel like honestly, based on the state of our food supply, and being dependent on the government to feed us is why we need gardens in the first place. um, I think solar power is something that we should definitely be aware of. We are a culture of inventors. So having, these young minds that are in high school and in college that understand, you know, science, the STEM program. We just talked about brothers 11 and 14 that are headed off to college. So we have the education, we have the knowledge within our community. Solar power is something like, if Gary, Indiana was running off solar power, they wouldn't be in this position. And that's not, I'm not saying that's on them. I'm saying as communities, these are things that we need to think about. When we exodus to wherever we're going, I think solar power is better for the environment for whatever reason, and an alternative to electricity when we don't have it, when we don't have access to it. You said they don't have money, the power, or the influence of most of the top 1%. Um, Collecting rainwater, which is illegal probably in most states, but in the exodus, we need a game plan, things that we can do on our own. Agriculture is important. Solar power is important. We need, power. We're not trying to live like off the grid. That's not what I'm talking about. But being able to survive, with a government that's working against us. Um, Collecting and purifying rainwater. There was a man in Oregon. I'll look it up for Wednesday. There was a man in Oregon who created his own water infiltration system, and he got arrested for collecting rainwater. Why? If y'all are going to be keeping the water, turning it off, poisoning the water, with fluoride or whatever it is they put in the damn water, Why can't we have our own water purifying systems that would, it could be big enough to run your household. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I'm being nosy in the chat. Sorry. Um, just, things to think about. And I think gather as much information as you can on how does a water purifying system work? What does that look like? What is the cost of it? These are all things that communities can work together. So when we're building our communities in this exodus that we're planning, this is all hypothetical in my mind. Um, this is information that we can take with us. All of the black people in the world combined do not have the money of Elon Musk. Well, you know what? As sooner or later he has to expire too. I'm always gonna think I'm not thinking at this point, um, especially in I can't fight a billionaire, millionaire, $100,000. You know, I'm thinking in terms of alternative ways of living. Those people over there are going to keep doing what they're doing. And then, like I said before, they're just going to eat each other. They got robots running into, walls and things. This fantasy world that they're living in, I hope they get it. I hope they get exactly what they're looking for and see how it works out for them. Because in my mind, I just don't believe it's going to work. On the grand scheme of things, it's just not. Um, you said they don't even let you collect rainwater. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, that's just here. I'm thinking in terms of my uh, like I said, alternative away from this United States. How would, a community look like? What would a community look like outside of living in the United States? Because this, I feel like it's gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse. It's gonna be destroyed and have to be rebuilt. And I don't really want to be any part of rebuilding it, to be honest. I don't want to be a part of rebuilding this, what do you call it? This Sodom and Gomorrah that we live in. We got so much nonsense working right now. Let them have it. They're only going to destroy each other. Then we can come back and discover it the same way we did. We can let them discover it. They can be stuck underneath the ground in their stupid ass bunkers. I think that's a dumb idea based on the way the earth can crush anything, crumble it. You know what I'm saying? They always think they got all the answers. They removed all the intelligence, scientists, the people who can tell you like how things actually work. They've removed that. They replaced it with dummies because they would prefer dealing with people that they feel superior to. So take your ass under that ground in your bunker with the water that you stole and see how that works out for you. In the meantime, I would like to be somewhere else in an environment where the fruit has seeds and, the meat is actually meat, not plastic, whatever it is they're feeding us, and let them have it. When they're done and they destroy it, we could come, like I said, back and discover it all over again if that's what you want to do. Or just acclimate to wherever it is, that your new society, your new civilization, the new civilization, that's what I'm looking for, the new civilization, because this civilization is uncivilized as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think, you can't fix it. Sometimes you got to burn the whole damn thing down and start all over again. So, and if you're not um smart enough to save yourself, I don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't say wealthy enough because, you going to bring along the people that are smart enough to save themselves. That's how I look at it. Anyway, y'all, we going from moo to nah. This has been like, everybody is like, oh my God, this is happening. So I'm going to let this lady explain it and then we could talk about it.
Beef and horse meat. I feel like now's a good time for us to be well informed so that we know what we're purchasing, or if we can't tell by appearance, we know what we're eating by taste and texture. Now, when I'm comparing these two types of meat, I'm not referring to grass-fed beef. I'm referring to store-bought beef. Now, with color, store-bought beef, it's going to be a brighter red. Sometimes the red might be a little dull in color, but the horse meat will be a darker red, a dark, deep red. And with the horse meat, it's leaner. There's not as much fat. The fat will look different. If there is fat or marbling, it'll be more of a yellowish color. Whereas with the store-bought beef, there's more fat, more marbling, and it's white in color. Horse meat could be dyed to make look a little brighter red in color, but you will be able to tell by taste and texture. Okay, the differences are there. We know what beef tastes like, whether it's ground beef or whether it's a nice ribeye, right? It's juicy, savory, flavorful. It's got a higher fat content. Even the lean cuts of beef, and we're talking about store-bought beef, don't forget. Now, with horse meat, it's more lean, it's dense, it's got like a tighter texture. It dries out super quick because of the low fat content, right? And it also is sometimes can taste gamey, but it will taste sweet. It has a bit of sweetness to the flavor. Now, for those who don't know, horse meat is actually common in places like France and Italy and Japan. Obviously, it's taboo here. Let me show you a few pictures to show you the differences in what the meat looks like. And I think the only problem people are going to have when it comes to appearance, especially, is trying to tell the difference between grass-fed and horse meat. If things are mislabeled, right? If horse meat's labeled as beef. Now, this is horse meat, but it's not always this noticeable. Have you ever seen beef that looks like this recently? This is also horse meat. It's all dark red, but if it was labeled steak tips, would you think twice? Now, here is a side by side of ground beef and grass fed beef, just for comparison, because grass fed beef does look dark in color too. So, I hope that information was helpful for you, and I will keep you updated on all of these things. How do you tell the difference?
So I'm not eating horse, camel, whale meat. I'll be vegan quickly. That was gonna be my question. Let me back up. Would you recommend we move to the Caribbean? Wait, would you recommend that we move to your country? Okay, you talking to Jaguar still? I'm gonna stay my ass out the comments. um, Lotus Egyptian Flower said you're not eating no horse meat. This was my question. Um, why do we have such an adverse reaction to horse meat over cow meat? Um, you said you're becoming vegetarian again. Well, hell, you can't eat that. There's shit on it. There's shit on the vegetables, so we screwed anyway. This is the thing. I think, like she said, that the meat, horse meat, is not like strange to eat in other countries. I've often wondered though, even before this came up, when people talked about horse meat, and I'm like, so what is the difference between horse meat and cow meat? Not based on the differences that she was talking about, because she's tasted it before, but why do we feel so differently about horse meat over cow meat? I personally feel like um not as much concerned about the meat as I am the FDA. I don't care what meat it is. I don't trust that the Food and Drug Administration is going to make sure that it's healthy from slaughter to, to shelves. So regardless, cows, horses, to me, I don't feel like it's going to be safe either way. Just a list of other meats that we eat. We eat goat, deer, buffalo, rabbit, squirrel, frogs, alligator, bear, pigs, chicken. Why are horses so taboo? I've never tasted horse meat that I know about. If I did, like I said, I didn't know. Um I'm a person that watches like the Animal Planet and all these types of animal shows. I grew up on Wild Kingdom. That was one of my favorite shows. I just love like watching animals in the wild. So, that part, you're like, lions, tigers, do we eat that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand the I don't understand the difference between why we choose one form of beef over another. Um, that was my first thought. High vibe. Is it because they're domesticated over here? Me and T were having this conversation yesterday. She said because maybe in the past we've used horses for transportation and for work purposes. Um, I just don't know. Like I said, I've eaten. I eat meat, so I don't know like where how I would feel about it. Aside from just we have an attachment to things that are domesticated over here. You said I know other countries eat horse meat. I see horses transportation, not food, in my opinion. Yeah, that's I think what it is, lotus Egyptian flower. I think we just have been raised to feel differently about horses, but I know they had this was about I want to say 10 years ago now, or a little over 10 years ago maybe. Osceola County, not Osceola County, Seminole County, because it was definitely broken into counties. I think it was Seminole County. There's a lot of forest up there, and the neighborhoods were inundated with bears. So they gave people like a window to go bear hunting as long as you were going to use it for meat. And so I don't know what bear meat tastes like. Probably tough, but I feel like it's also beef. Buffalo, they be over there like, you know, they serving even the balls of the buffalo. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, my worry is not so much the kind of meat as it is how it's going to be processed. I don't think it's going to be any more safe for us than anything else that we're getting in our grocery stores. You said people all over the world eat almost everything. Many people think that the foods that they are least familiar with are disgusting. I agreed to go to Africa. So, like I see, but and I'm gonna put it like this: the non-melanated people in this country get in an uproar about animals far more than they do about humans. You know what I'm saying? So when I seen this, they were like, the government is collecting all these wild horses, and I'm like, it's no less inhumane than eating a cow. I'm sorry. And so, she broke down like what the difference is in the meat. So you just gonna have to cook it different. My concern, like I said, is it's not going to be any safer for us to eat because this is going to go through these same, Taylor Farms and all of these other, distribution companies that distribute and slaughter and, house animals. Pigs are gross. We still, bacon, bacon, bacon. Cows are terrible to eat because of their. Oh my God. A lotus. Do you have actual proof of that? Um, Yeah, people eat buffalo here. Um, I know personally, my uncles used to go hunting. So, and I grew up in Michigan, so we had deer, rabbit, squirrel. It tastes like gamey, just like she said. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't feel as upset about it as maybe a lot of people do. I'm not grossed out by it necessarily. I just feel like I don't trust them people. I don't care what they slaughtering. Foods that some of us think are disgusting are other people's delicacies. It's true. If you watch some of those cooking shows, especially when you talk about the Asian countries like Japan and Vietnam, and some people view cows as sacred. Yeah, in India they do, but over here, we'd take a cow and eat every other part of it. So I do know, like when I first moved over here in Florida, you used to be able to not drive far without seeing cattle. And I don't see cattle anymore. Everywhere in my neighborhood that there used to be cattle are now, condos, apartments, houses, or, resorts of some kind. So, yeah, y'all, the people is in an uproar about the horses. I am not. I don't know what that says about me, but like I said, I'm more concerned with the people processing the meat than I am the fact that the meat is there. I prefer the meat to plastic, whatever foolishness that Bill Gates is coming up with for us to eat. Texas Roadhouse faces backlash over claims of employees discussing spitting in black customers' food in a Facebook group. So this is crazy. Um, Texas Roadhouse is in some deep backlash following unverified social media claims alleging that employees were part of a large private Facebook group where members discussed mistreating black customers. The controversy began Sunday when ex user Yana Rose claimed that a Facebook group with more than 400,000 members was allegedly made up of servers from Texas Roadhouse and Logan's Roadhouse. According to the post, discussion within the group allegedly included claims about spitting in black customers' food and other forms of mistreatment. 400,000 people work for Texas Roadhouse? That can't be only employees. It says, to all you blacks in here, keep this in mind. This is part of the Facebook group. So she has screenshot and posted. Hope you enjoy your meal next time you eat out. There is a Facebook group that I am a part of and is for white servers. We have come up with a plan. When a table of black diners come in and places their order, we walk back to the kitchen, get your food when ready. There's always a blind spot in the kitchen and we are licking our fingers and touching your food. If it happens to be Texas Roadhouse or Logan's, those rolls are full of our white saliva. Ugh. Some of the cooks are in on it this too. They are playing think he says think they are playing. They aren't, believe me. This has been going on since y'all started this nonsense with Carmelo. uh-uh Started this nonsense with Carmelo the candy bar Anthony crap. By the way, this group has over 400,000 members. Enjoy y'all's food. They real upset about Carmelo. So this is the Texas Roadhouse. We are aware of the video that is being shared with an accusation that has been made towards our restaurants. We believe it to be completely unfounded. We take every accusation toward our brand seriously. We are investigating this alleged abhorrent behavior and remain committed to treating every guest with respect, dignity, and legendary service they deserve. Where the black people? They don't have no black people in the kitchen watching what's going on. They followed due to losing our verification. They lost their verification. Due to losing our verification, comments are not being seen. At Texas Roadhouse, we are committed to creating an environment where every guest is treated with respect and unreasonable. What does that mean? Unreasonable hospitality? Do they mean that? Unreasonable? We do not tolerate discrimination, harassment, or mistreatment of any kind, and we expect our roadies to treat every guest with dignity and care. Our commitment to communities in which we serve remains unchanged. Provide legendary food, legendary service to every guest who walks through our doors. I don't believe them. I think this is probably not just Texas Roadhouse. In my opinion, based on what's going on with the food, I don't really trust a whole lot of fast food places anyway. We went to Bojangles the other day, and it wasn't even that busy. There was 20 people in there, and they couldn't get it right. And so we were waiting on fries. This has nothing to do with that disgusting stuff, but we were waiting on fries. And this was a black girl. There was plenty of people of color within the building, so clearly not targeting black people. But we were waiting on fries. We were sitting there waiting for not even fries, hash browns. I feel like hash browns don't take as long as fries. What should have took 3 minutes took forever. So I went inside the building and the girl tells me, yeah, you know how they tell you to pull over? She said, yeah, our line got backed up. So we had to go ahead and give your hash browns away and it'll be 3 more minutes. So she gave us extra. Um, that being said, I just kind of don't trust any of it. I'm gonna limit myself to eating at small mom and pops restaurants, family owned businesses, because I feel like the kind of we done seen kids braiding their hair over the donuts, people putting their feet on top of the cookie sheets. We've seen a lot of nonsense with the people working in the fast food and restaurant industry. Like I said, I'm not going nowhere where they don't want me. So if I go to a restaurant and they giving me funky fever, I'm straight. I don't have to eat there because now I am concerned about what they might do to my food. So, this is what they're doing out there. Row House ain't on my list, so it's not gonna be hard for me to stop going to somewhere that I wasn't going to anyway. But I feel like 400,000 people is a lot. I don't know that Row House got that many employees, but I think you know if their incentive is what's going on with Carmelo Anthony, then it's gonna be when you on the road traveling from place to place, better find you somewhere to eat where it ain't just white people. Um, there's that. You said if you're looking for meats to go holla if you can find it. If not, then kosher. Oh, halal meats one have blood completely drained, so you don't have to worry about infection and animals don't suffer. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to look into that. But I'm just talking about what's on the shelf at the grocery stores where we're already shopping. So, this is the big, oh my God, look at the label. They're serving us horse meat. Okay. That doesn't bother me, like I said, as much as, the food processing plants. What'd you say, Judge Honey? This channel shows the revolutionary zeal of our sisters. Uh, Nkrumah said, "It's true. It is the true measure of our ability to make change. Y'all, sister soldiers on this channel, are inspiring. Salute." See, Jatoni, we missed this. We missed you telling us how amazing goddesses we are. So just know that when you're not here, we do notice it because you encourage us to keep doing what we're doing. Their food is not healthy. We should look at any food establishment. I think so. High vibe. I think I feel much safer going to the family owned, local owned businesses where you know the owners. They come out and say hi to you. I just feel like they're working with a little more integrity because it's their business. It's not a bunch of people sitting there spitting on their fingers. That is disgusting, and that sounds like white people shit. And I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm just saying. Um, you said if true, she might have just caused her company to become bankrupt. She apparently didn't think she could lose her job. I don't know that she works there. She said she was in a Facebook group. So, maybe she's adjacent to somebody that works there. At the end of the day, you know, um, people should stop supporting if they're spitting on their food. And this is the thing, if that's the type of thing you do, if we exodus, let's just say we exodus. They're using Carmelo Anthony as an excuse, but let's just say we exodus and they stuck with just each other. You think they're gonna stop doing nasty stuff like spitting on the rolls? No, because that's the kind of nasty individual you are. So sooner or later, you're gonna run up to a row house, black or not. You might just get some white saliva that ain't yours on your rolls. That's disgusting. That's a whole different mindset. You can you can go 3 veggies in one small container. I think high vibe. That's a beautiful place to start for people who don't. Peppers are easy. Herbs are easy. You start small, and didn't you keep going and keep going until like anything else become a green thumb. You said meat items, chicken, beef, lamb, etc., will have information on the labels. Look for the ones that say halal if you can find it. There are a lot of places you might not expect. If you have any like information, Jaguar, that you can send me, like where, like I'm talking about, like where I could find that, where I could find it in my area, because the more you know, hell, the more you know, and the safer you'll be. I would prefer like trying to avoid, uh, you know, big box stores and grocery stores altogether. And that's my goal. The bottom line is we have eaten many things that we don't know about. You're right. It's like white saliva on our rolls at the restaurant. We never know what they're putting in our uncooked and cooked food. It's true. And so we can only be more diligent about. Half of these people that are outraged about horses been eating it for a long time. They just didn't know. They've been at the house tearing up some horse meat. Um, if you live in cooler climates, at least half of the year you can grow your own produce. My brother-in-law does. Like during holidays, they had him some good greens and stuff for Thanksgiving, because it's a small garden. Many restaurants. I want to kind of move, like I said, away from large chain restaurants. I don't do it often. I don't do it often. Um, I just don't trust it, and it's because I've worked in restaurants before. You won't find pork or ham though. I'm not a big bacon person. Not having I don't eat a lot of pork. Okay, I eat sausage, but yeah, I'm not a bacon girl. If you eat that stuff, Muslims can't eat or touch it. I live in such a highly populated Hispanic community. I don't know. I would probably have to go, I'm going to have to go distance to find places, where I can get, I'm sure, um, kosher food. But it's worth it to me. It's worth taking that next step. And at this point, you can't even say it's because it's expensive that you don't want to do it, because everything is expensive. You just have to do more, be more thoughtful with the way you purchase. I think, because everything is convenient, we just throwing it in the cart, and not paying attention. So um yeah, grow your own food and stay away from Texas Roadhouse, because they're giving away white saliva that we didn't ask for. That's what the lady said. I didn't make that up. Target is at it again. I don't even know why. I mean, y'all still in Target. I'm not in Target. I haven't been to Target in years. Target is facing backlash over children's Halloween costume critics say closely resembles historic blackface and minstrel imagery. First of all, what is that? I don't know any kid that wants that. That doesn't look like, that's not Bluey. That's not Spider Man. That's not any of the things I think these kids want to be. I don't know. They own one, unless they want to have their little white children who probably don't want that either. Like, what was their thought process in selling that? What is it supposed to be exactly? Target is facing backlash after a children's Halloween clown, that is not a clown costume sold under its Hide and Eek boutique brand, was called out for imagery critics say closely resembles historic blackface and minstrel caricatures. The costume features a dark face covering with an exaggerated wide mouth, bright lips, and oversized teeth. Visual features that have long been associated with racist depictions of black people in American entertainment and advertising. It's hard for me to feel away, because I mean, we don't look like that, so it's just stupid. As images of the costume spread online, people began sharing side by side comparisons with historic caricatures and questioning how the design made it through production and onto Target's website. We already know how they made it over there. It was intentional. They're intentionally trying to trigger us. I'm not triggered. I think it's a stupid costume. It don't look like no clown I've ever seen. So yeah, I guess Target. This ain't how you gonna get the folks back in. I know that's right. I'm guessing Jay Z didn't work. Is that a Jay Z costume? Is this being dressed up like Jay Z? The costume has since disappeared from Target's website. Ah, too late. If you didn't get your little Jay-Z costume, then it's too late. They took it off. Target has not publicly confirmed why it was removed or said the design was intended to reference racist imagery. The backlash as a reminder that imagery carries history and certain visual stereotypes remain deeply offensive because the way because of the way they were used for generations to mock and dehumanize Black people. Nobody's kid wants this. It says, bro, Target already has 12 million in revenue that they still haven't learned their lesson. No, they haven't. I don't know, like I said, why that would be a costume any kid would want. I don't know any kids that want that. You said restaurants owned by Indians, Pakistanis, Southwest Asians, and Middle East usually sell halal food as stores and restaurants. Now that I'm sure I can find because one thing we are around here is culturally diverse. So that might not be something that will be as difficult to find as maybe I thought it would be. So yeah, y'all, Target is still on one. This was sad. We're going to talk Carmelo a minute. A Texas judge has denied the bid for a new trial submitted by 19-year-old Carmelo Anthony, upholding his red rum conviction for fatally stabbing of student Austin Metcalf. Newly appointed Kaufman County Judge Michael Chitty used a ruling following a two-day evidentiary hearing in which Anthony's defense sought to overturn his 35-year prison sentence. 35 years. Oof. So this was disappointing because I think we all were hoping that this would be a positive outcome. This is some of the things that were discovered during, this appeal about the other
motion for a new trial. The background reports are being released, and the defense is going first, releasing 20 pages now of Austin Metcalf's behavioral history. Carmelo Anthony was dressed in a suit and tie for this morning's hearing, which began with the defense arguing that efforts by the trial judge and prosecutors to combat threats and deal with disruptions actually prevented Anthony from getting an open and fair trial. But bombshell testimony came this afternoon from Anthony's trial attorney, Mike Howard, about Austin Metcalf's background report that was never presented to the jury. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background. Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word, and were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation. Records reveal they reportedly told authorities, "We did some dumb stuff. We did some vandalism." There are several documented instances of Austin using racial slurs in school. And in 2023, Austin was accused of bullying a black student in class. In 2018, while still in elementary school, Austin and his brother were accused of bullying and assaulting a female, which led to his arrest. During an argument in 2024 with another female student, Austin allegedly knocked her to the ground and punched her in the stomach. He was also kicked out of a football game and texted someone later, "I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids." At a previous track meet, when another student alerted Austin that someone not on their team, quote, "behind our bench was talking wild," Austin reportedly replied, "Kill that MF." During the 2023-2024 school year, he received in-school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 2022 to May 2024 reveal that Austin reportedly called a teacher the B word and used profanity. He told a school official that he couldn't control it and wasn't aware that it was coming out of his mouth. In 2024, on at least 5 occasions, Austin saw a counselor regarding his anger and rage during a football game. In 2021, he got banned from attending basketball games for a season after yelling profanity at a player. Metcalf also got suspended after he and another student were talking about bringing a gun to school the following day. Now, there's in this motion for a new trial, the background reports are being released, and the defense is going first, releasing 20 pages now of Austin Metcalf's behavioral history. Carmelo Anthony was dressed in a suit and tie for this morning's hearing, which began with the defense arguing that efforts by the trial judge and prosecutors to combat threats and deal with disruptions actually prevented Anthony from getting an open and fair trial. But
Oh man.
now there's in this motion for a new trial, the background reports are being released, and the defense is going first, releasing 20 pages now.
I don't want to start all over, but we can see that the character of this young man is being exposed. I don't think any of us are surprised, but this is what it is. Well, Austin got his karma. I mean, again, I don't feel no ways about it. What Funky Dynamic would say, I don't feel no ways tired. I do not. Um, I am glad this is like the thing that they do with black kids. As soon as they're a victim, of something, then they're always trying to show whatever shady past they had. These little boys was bad from elementary school. Two little boys. They didn't hit the teacher, beating up on girls like this, and there's two of them, so let's hear more of this. I don't know if this is good news. Hopefully, this is good news. We'll get a little more information about what's going on with the actual appeal.
Secret Service Sam here with a Carmelo Anthony update, and here's something we must know. Never underestimate Russell Wilson and the Dream Team, okay? Like Nipsey Hussle said, we're playing chess, not checkers, baby, okay? Because what you guys don't understand is, yes, we lost the motion for a new trial, but this is good because this is all part of the plan. They had to get, first of all, we got the judge recused, okay? So we successfully recused the judge, Judge Roach, who presided over the trial. We got him out. Now we put Anthony's formal trial lawyers under oath, and we found out all that gentleman's agreement, all that unconstitutional, allegedly crap that they pulled off. Okay, we developed testimony explaining why Carmelo did not testify. We placed the prosecution's interpretation of the informal evidentiary agreement on the record. We forced public examination of the proceedings that allegedly occurred outside the formal record. We developed arguments concerning public trial rights and courtroom access. We preserved its challenge to the self-defense jury instructions. We obtained an adverse ruling from a new judge that can now become part of the appellate litigation. Stay woke! Come on. And perhaps most importantly, the team has made clear that the motion for a new trial was not the end game. And also remember, before all of this, who were the only two people who had a prior record? Here's a hint. It was not Carmelo Anthony. So we are playing chess. Checkmate, okay? It is not over. All right, I want to explain this. And one of my friends, shout out to, you know who you are. We're on different tracks. We're on different train tracks. And yes, that new trial track, that one's done. But guess what? The appeal track is still rolling. Chugga, chugga, choo, choo. Come on, ride an appeal train and ride it. So we are going to get justice for Carmelo. You just need to understand how brilliant the Dream Team really is and what they are doing. This was not a loss. It was just part of the plan. Stay woke! Anyway, I'm digressulating. Secret Service Sam out. Samson for president of the world. No justice, no peace. Secret Service Sam here with a car.
I hope he's right. I hope he's right. I feel like we were all hoping, for a new trial, and then when we got this information over the weekend, it was like, a gut punch because, we were so hopeful that he would at least get a, lesser sentence. So the game ain't over, according to Secret Service Sam over here. The team is still working hard to get Carmelo, and at the very least, this Austin boy has been exposed for his works and the type of person, that he is. And so keep your eyes on him. Pressure. We need to apply pressure to all these people. So in other good news, in other good news, happy to hear this. Would love to hear more of this. Sean Grayson, former police officer who shot and unalived Sonia Massey, has died in prison. He only served 2 of his 20-year sentence. See you bye. Sean Grayson, the former Sangamon County Sheriff's deputy convicted of unaliving Sonia Massey, died in prison Sunday while serving a 20-year sentence for second degree red rum. Grayson was 32 years old. Grayson fatally pawpawed Massey inside her Illinois home on July 6, 2024, after she called 911 to report a possible prowler. Body cam footage showed Massey ducking behind her kitchen counter before Grayson fired 3 shots. He was later fired, arrested, and ultimately convicted of second degree red rum in October 2025. A judge sentenced Grayson to the maximum of 20 years in prison on January 29, 2026, while giving him credit for the time he had already spent in custody since 2020 arrest. That means Grayson spent roughly 2 years behind bars overall, although only about 7 months had passed since his formal sentencing. Grayson had stage 4 rectal cancer that had spread to his liver and lungs. He requested an early medical release, but Illinois panel unanimously denied the request just weeks before his death. Um, may they all be affected, in their rectal. That's a terrible thing to say, but that's what I mean. I have a list of people, you know what I mean? Not voodoo doll style, but, just in my head. I won't say it out loud, but, everybody, can come up with their own list. But, anybody practicing, uh, you said rectal cancer. That's interesting, isn't it, though? So, may anyone practicing racism, you know, contact rectal cancer, and then and the world will be a better place. That sounds terrible, but I'm not sorry. Did y'all see this? I tell you what, when I let go of y'all on Thursday, it is all start rolling in, one right after another. LSU student sparks outrage after being seen dragging a black doll with a string tied around its neck across campus as a social media user claims to have identified those involved. Now one student's mother is speaking out. These are college students. They're young, but I don't know why they would think this is a thing. And the unfortunate part is one of them is black. After a video of an LSU student dragging a black doll with a string tied around its neck across campus sparked outrage online, the mother of one of those students involved is now speaking out. Let's just go directly to what she said. Um, I would make her ass come home. I would make her ass come the hell back home. We need a restart. And her explanation don't make sense. So you can see the little white girl is dragging this black baby doll on a string. I'm not clear, and this is an example too of the mama making an excuse for her child. You're not ready to be off. So this is what the mother said. She was gifted the doll last year. Last year, your child in high school, your senior, who gave the baby, who gave your child a baby doll as a gift? She was gifted the doll last year, and she sent me a picture earlier saying that she was going to bring the doll around campus. But how I didn't know. Why am I calling my mom to say, "Hey mom, I'm going to bring the baby doll around campus"? No, it just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, talking about she just didn't say how. Um, I didn't know, and but how I didn't know. And when she sent this to me, I was appalled and immediately got in her ass. She stated that she asked a group of kids if it looks crazy. Why would you ask that? And they told her, and she put it away. Okay, so they told her it looked crazy and she put it away. And she also says she didn't mean any harm. And the other girl is her friend, and her family love my daughter as if they were blood related. Okay. This was two young kids not thinking of the consequences, but also ask if it looks bad. I definitely agree with what everyone is saying, and trust me, I'm not the parent to hold my kids' hands when they're wrong. She spoke with her RA and apologized, and also she wants to apologize to the staff because she did not mean it in that way. What? This is a pic from earlier. So there's a pic for. I don't know what this mother is talking about. Honestly, everything she said does not make sense to me. I would like to first and foremost apologize to the young black girl. Um, apologize. The young black girl in the post is my daughter. I have already scolded her about this, and she stated her and her friend were going to bring the doll around campus. I had no idea this was the idea, but neither child are racist. Well, your daughter obviously can't be racist, but she hanging around with one. And I told them both to go to their RA and apologize and to get rid of the doll because this was uncalled for and was definitely not right the right way to be funny. I am so questioning that mother and her reaction. It's just it just doesn't make sense. You said, is that part of her initiation? Initiation into what? If she called her mother and said she wanted to show off the baby doll, I'm wondering why somebody bought a baby doll for a senior. Do they still play with baby dolls at that age? I don't think they do. Um, what way did she mean it? Yeah, that was my question. High five. I'm very irritated by the way this mother even approach the situation. You said, what made it, why does she mean it? She needs to come forward and face the consequences of her actions. My black child would no longer be her friend. She would be banned from my home and contact with my child. I'm getting the feeling like I can't tell if the mother, whose doll was it? The way the mother is talking is a little bit weird. Um, she's at the wrong institution. She and her mother both need to be in mental. I'm telling you that apology was wild. Um, you said, is that a Spanish name? Is it? I mean, that would probably. I don't know. I felt like the little girl was black. I don't know. Um, Either way, both of these girls know better than to tie a noose around a doll's neck and drag it around campus. That ain't even how you play with dolls. So, you talking about she didn't know what she meant. I think it's very weird for a college freshman to call their mother and say, "Hey, I'm bringing my doll around class." And why you even bring it to school? It just doesn't make sense to me. I have questions, Mom. I would have pulled my daughter out. I would have pulled her out and make her work at the row house for a year until she ready to go to school with some good sense. You would be surprised how many of YT older girls still carry around dolls or fuzzy toys. Black dolls, because she got a black doll last year though. It's all bothersome to me, and the way that the black mother or brown mother who came, to say, can you imagine? I Can you imagine your white friend shows up with a doll with a noose around the neck, and you co-sign that, and we're gonna walk around campus dragging it? What was the funny part? I want to see this little girl sit down and say what the hell she had in her mind. And the black one, whatever, color she is, melanated child, like I said, you need to come home because we need a reset. We need a reset. And right now, you don't get to be rewarded for that type of behavior. Now you can go back and be a freshman with kids younger than you because you was over here acting. You want to play with a doll? Dummy. Did y'all see this little girl run out on the field and tackle this young man? I feel like we talked about it. It said, I just spoke this at the university about anti-violence and mental health. Want me to speak at your event or university? So this is him promoting himself. Anyway, 16-year-old white girl charged with assaulting a middle school black boy who was defeating her little brother's football team 35-0. So because the black kids was defeating her brother's team, she felt like it was okay for her to run her happy ass out on the field and tackle the boy. Addison Honeycutt said, I blacked out. When I get angry, it kind of blinds me. My brain goes blank when it comes to what I'm about to do. That's the same thing that happened with Austin. He blacked out. He didn't mean to do that. You know, calling the teacher a bitch in elementary school. Franklin, Tennessee County Sheriff Office charged Addison Honeycutt with assault and disorderly conduct. Franklin County School banned Addison from all district properties for life, all because Bleach Becky Stop it. Bleach Becky bounced out the bleachers, brain blanked blind and blacked out, someone said. Ooh, that was a tongue twister. Thank you. When Addison saw her brother get pancaked, blocked, and manhandled when he when the refs allowed her brother and the middle school boy, she assaulted to play through the whistle. After a touchdown, the black player on South Middle School's team scored 35 versus 93% white Cornsville Middle School August 18th, 2026. So, that's not so, unusual. The black school came over there and mollywopped the white school. Officials ended the game early after Becky broke bad. This is hilarious the way they wrote that. Well, this is Becky in her explanation.
So that kind of, when I get angry, it kind of blinds, like my brain goes blank when it comes to like what I'm about to do. I remember doing it, and I know that I did it, but at that moment in time, it was kind of just like I didn't really know what I was doing until I did it.
You really felt like you just really didn't have a choice.
Yeah. And seeing what they
Her mama just sat up there. Here's another one of these whack ass mamas. Her mother just sat up there and said, you really feel like you didn't have a choice. Child.
were doing to him and nobody's stopping it, that kind of made me like the last choice of, okay, somebody has to stop this.
Animals love their chowder family.
I'm speechless, child. I'm speechless. You said, I think it's French, but anyway, she's not racist, but she's for sure anti-black. Yeah, and her little friend is racist. Child. They always black out when they do bad. They black out when they do bad, and then like her mother is co-signing it. Her mother sat up there and said she didn't feel like she had a choice. So at the end of the day, the way they see it, these black kids came over here and she had every right to do what she did because they were playing football. So I'm not sure what was happening on the football field. I don't know, tackles, people like grabbing on each other and things of that nature. Football stuff. It's a contact sport. So she felt so enraged that she needed to run out on the court and handle it. I don't know what she was supposed to handle, but she blacked out. And, they banned her. Excuse me, they banned her from going to any sporting events, as they should. But this is the thing that infuriates me is the way they get to use that shit as an excuse. You blacked out. What do you mean you blacked out? No, you didn't. You knew exactly what you did. What happened was you saw that this was a black school and you felt like it was okay for you to do it because it usually is. It's usually okay. Anytime she blacks out, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to start using that as an excuse. Next time somebody step in front of me at the grocery store and try to hold two lines, I'm going to black out. See how that works for me. Then I'm going to have to call y'all to help me out. Whew, on to celebrity news. I ran across this. I was like, is this what in the heck is going on? This story is just taking a turn, that's in a very strange direction. Mike Geist is the unaliver of Malcolm Jamal Warner. Tanisha planned a trip to Costa Rica starting in February 2021, 2025 for June 2025. She took Malcolm's daughter to Costa Rica without Malcolm. Okay. It's her daughter too, though, right? Then in July 2025, Tanisha lured Malcolm to Costa Rica to see his daughter. Eh, eh, The way they're telling this story, she lured him here or there. She lured him there. She's his wife. They were on vacation, or she lured him over there. I wonder where these people are getting this from. Tanisha had already scheduled Malcolm's surfing lesson with Mike Geist. Mike Geist and Tanisha took Malcolm to a secluded part of the beach where no one is. Mike Geist and a few other surfers drowned Malcolm while Tanisha went to go get food. The chef, the chef, the chief of police said Tanisha came back with no food and Mike Geist was gone. Mike Geist said he gave CPR for 45 minutes. 45 minutes? The chief of police was there in 20 minutes and did not see Mike Geist. Tanisha contacted TMZ and said she found out Malcolm died in a phone call until paperwork party flew to Costa Rica and found the pic of Tanisha on the beach standing over Malcolm's dead body. Let me let y'all hear what this man is saying.
Actually, one of my friends and a volunteer as well was in the area and was able to go in and make the rescue. So he's a local surfer, happened to be here and immediately went in and was able to find Mr. Warner, unfortunately below the surface, near the floor of the ocean. Was able to pull him to the surface and perform the emergency protocol that we have in place. When that wasn't effective, then he was able to quickly remove him from the water, and he and there were two doctors that were also here just on vacation, and between the three of them they were able to perform CPR for more than 30 minutes, probably more like 45 minutes, and unfortunately it was not successful. Sunday we had actually one of
45 minutes is a long time for CPR. I'm just saying. Um, First comment. First off, nobody is performing CPR for 45 minutes. Do y'all know how tiring that would be? Yeah, you would pass out trying to help somebody. This one, it says, I know Malcolm very well. Very well. Live next door to me. I'm a Studio City of Coldwater Canyon, California, and he can swim very well. I do not believe nothing about no drowning. Something definitely not right. Um, so she thought she had signed $1 million life insurance policy with her as the sole beneficiary, but never followed through with it. I hope and pray she's brought to justice. Seems like the people feel like there's something weird going on with Malcolm's wife. I do not know. I vibe. There's definitely something sus about MJW wife. This seems suspect. I mean, she was on. Did y'all watch her on Gail King? I did not. I might have to go back over there and see if my spidey senses start raising up. There's a reason why this whole thing, this rift between the mother and her is happening. Um, when you talk about the amount of money, it doesn't seem like a lot of money. I don't know what his estate was worth, but I also feel like they were married all those years and he never, I feel like the moment they had a child together, you would think he would change things around. So none of that paperwork was changed for whatever reason. Um, what you say? It's giving she has something to do with it. She told Gail that she doesn't remember the events of that day. Oh, now I got to go watch it, girl. So she don't remember. I never trust people that don't remember because I feel like most of the traumatic things in my life that happened, I remember in pretty good detail for, you know what I'm saying? Like if like the night that my mother passed away, I remember like the events that took place prior to all the way up to, the moment where I got the news that she was no longer with us. So, yeah. Mm, I guess it's been a year. I don't know that there's any case pending, but she keep pressing about that money. They gonna start investigating. You said, yep, her response was crazy. And now the issue with the money. I wonder why MJW didn't get that life insurance. Mm, I don't know. I just feel like people with money tend to handle those things, not so much right after they get married, but definitely after they get children. I feel like people are always trying to make sure that their children are taken care of. What's up, Trey? You said, I hope none of this is true, but I can't deny that something was always fishy about the circumstances surrounding his demise. Well, now that, like I said, now that she's asking, about this money and she pressing his mama, she might be opening a Pandora's box that she did not intend to open. Um, like I said, there's a reason why his mother is so adamant about her not getting anything, and I can understand like a mother being like, I don't like her, I don't want her to have anything, but it's not likely to be that way about her granddaughter. I would imagine there's probably something, you know put away somewhere in their family business, their family trust, that includes the granddaughter. So we gonna see. Like I said, asking for that money might have get her in more trouble than she bargained for. Sound like she got pregnant to avoid hurting his status. He decided to marry her afterward. He realized what a nut job she is because the man would not leave his family unprotected. That's what I was thinking. You know who I would love to get a tea from? She ain't gonna say nothing. Regina King. Regina King was in a relationship with Malcolm. Remember how we hearted that relationship, and then it ended so strangely. Then out the blue, he just married this lady. Oh no. Now I'm curious. We need a Netflix documentary. My husband dies unexpectedly. I'm definitely going to remember every detail. Right. All the way. You going to remember what's the last thing y'all said to each other that morning. You know what I'm saying? Like there's little things that you would definitely remember. So now I want to go, dissect her interview with Gayle King, because a year later, she should be very clear. And then why you want to sit down with Gayle King? You think she going to get you the money? Child, I hate to be side eyeing people, but I'm side eyeing over here. Um, it would be playing in my mind day and night. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like there's certain instances where people definitely black out, like the little girl did when she ran her happy ass out on the football field. But for most things, like, you know, trauma that happened in your life, I feel like you remember it. I remember, like, when I got my hair wet up in Ottawa and my mother told me not to. And when I got home, I got my ass beat for getting my hair wet. I remember it very clearly because I'm like, who leaves their kid at a lake and then get in trouble? Oh, that's another story. We need to talk about Rudy. They were very close. Rudy was close with Malcolm or the wife. Probably Malcolm. Rudy kind of nutty too. People that are very close to it, aside from the neighbors down in the comments, um, when somebody passes away, you tend to be very protective of their business. And so, when you talk about Rudy, what's her name? Keisha. Keisha and Regina King, they're probably going to be more quiet. Regina King is probably definitely not going to do a lot of talking based on her, position in Hollywood. But all of a sudden, things just seem very fishy. Good morning, Miami Gardens now. I want to go, as soon as I'm done here, I want to go watch that interview. I kind of lost interest in it, but now, my interest has been reignited. She was calculated. I'm about to go see it, girl. Rudy knew what's Rudy knew what's up with the wife and Malcolm and Bill Cosby. They all knew. Well, I mean, I guess Now that she's opened this Pandora's box, even the way that man is standing there trying to explain is fishy. 45 minutes of CPR, his whole rib cage then would have been caved in. There's a lot of pushing and pushing on the chest. So, child, these Hollywood people stay in some damn. Malcolm Jamal Warner was such an unproblematic entertainer for this kind of scandal to be attached. Was he over here getting married to weirdos like Big Tigger? Patti LaBelle's nephew claims she kicked him out of her property and cut him off over his unwavering support for President DT. That's what the hell she should have did. That's what you do, Patti. We are not sorry. Patti LaBelle's nephew and adopted son, William Bile Holt, says his support for President DT led to major family fallout that has left him estranged from the legendary singer. You not estranged. You stood on business and she did too. So there's that. Find somewhere else to be, bruh. Holt recently detailed the dispute on social media, claiming the relationship reached a breaking point around Christmas 2019. According to Holt, he had been living on LaBelle's family property for roughly 12 years while also working for her as a personal assistant and a gardener and a caretaker for her pets. A personal assistant, a gardener, and a caretaker. So she was doing you a favor, clearly, by letting you do a little yang yang around the house, and you've been hanging around there for 12 years. And, unfortunately, you can't bite the hand that feeds you. Holt claims after hearing relatives discussing why they believe Trump was dangerous, he challenged them and questioned why he should fear Trump when his own family was allegedly forcing him out of the home. He says the confrontation quickly escalated and he was told to leave the property. Sounds like he was getting kicked out before this conversation. And, that was just the, straw. Holt also alleges LaBelle became upset with him for publicly discussing their private family life. Well, that's a reason. There you go. He described the resulting estrangement as a lifetime banishment, claiming LaBelle and people within her circle have stopped communicating with him. Yeah, because you was telling the business. Now you want to put it on your political preference. The allegations are currently based on Holt's version of the events. LaBelle has not publicly responded to his latest claims, and there is no independent confirmation what his political views were. No independent confirmation that his political views were the sole reason he was removed from the property. He was removed from the property because he don't know how to keep his mouth shut. This why you can't always family don't always be in your best interest. She was trying to do him a favor and he did what? Told their business. You said she did the worst thing by going to Gayle King. She didn't seem genuinely sorrowful. That content creator paperwork said the autopsy showed MJW didn't have fluid in his lungs. Ooh, girl, this ain't over. She done got herself in a mess. Um, yeah, Patty, kick him out. But I feel like that was just one more thing. Like if he over here telling the business and then she kick, then he gonna get to the family function and start being a, MAGA. She was like, get the hell off the property. He's acting as her assistant and her gardener. So if he's her assistant, he was definitely in the business. What more does he want? What more do you want from me? He didn't save any money. No, he was planning on living off Aunt Patty for, I guess she said, nephew and adopted son. So she went all the way as far as to adopt him. I bet you his name ain't on no paperwork. You done screwed up, nephew. He didn't save any money after working for his aunt. She had every right to kick rocks his butt out. Yes, Patty kicked him out with her patty pie. Well, deuces, yeah, you got to go. I can't support you. But I feel like it has less to do with his political preference and more to do with him over there telling the business, the family business. Sound like the nephew took a joke too far. Oh well. I don't know what he gonna do now. He been over there for 12 years. Hopefully she'll at least give him like a reference. I don't know. I don't feel sorry for people that get taken care of, by wealthy family members and then, don't have nothing to show for it in the end. What was you doing for yourself? Clearly nothing. I don't know how y'all are gonna feel about this, but there's gonna be a part two. Jafar Jackson says Michael's sequel will go deeper into the ASS alt allegations, admits his uncle's voice not being heard affected the family. Jafar Jackson hopes the next chapter of Michael will dig deeper into one of the most controversial periods of his uncle's life. The 30-year-old actor who portrays Michael Jackson in the hit biopic told GQ Middle East that a planned sequel could explore the child's SCX abuse allegations and followed the late singer beginning in the 1990s. I think the second film will give more insight from his point of view because at the end of the day, the allegations are always from someone else's. um Jafar said, always from someone. I think the second film will give him more insight from his point of view. Oh, the allegations are for somebody else's point of view. I suppose it's someone else's story, it's someone else's idea of what it is, and it's mainly driven by an agenda, he continued. And that's really the issue we've been having as a family, not having Michael's voice be heard. So this doesn't sound like it's going to be something. It's going to be something that y'all, I guess, are going to be comfortable with. Jafar also reflected on Michael's character during his later years. He never changed that purity, that sense of always wanting to find good in other people, he said, adding, he never stopped treating people with kindness. Calling his uncle broken, Jafar added, his heart still stayed the same. I hope that this is felt in the second movie. It feels like Jermaine is going in and they crossed over into a billion, so it seems like Jermaine is going for that second check. Um, Lionsgate is reporting targeting production for late 2026 or early 2027. Um, so yeah, I think he's going in for more. He's going in for another check. I did not see the movie. I'll see it when it hits Netflix or whatever. Jafar, please stop making money off your deceased uncle. This is going too far. This is his father. This is a Jermaine thing, I believe. Lord, leave it alone, Jafar, Your Majesty, Jermaine. Why are they not talking about the other brothers? Why not make a movie about Jermaine marrying the mother of Randy's kids? Yeah, that'll be a story. Or the Jackson Five. Like they focus so much on Michael, and it seems like a money grab. It just feels like a money grab. They're going to get all they can. Like I said, he crossed a billion in sales with that first movie. I don't know if they could do it again, but it's Michael Jackson, and any conversation about Michael Jackson is going to bring the people in. um I love Michael, but man, that movie was bad. Oh no, I didn't see it. uh how does he know? Did Michael even know him? These comments. Ooh, these comments, child. In other white people news, Kim Zolciak and Croy Bierman's son, Croy Bierman Jr., arrested for SCX crime charges. Now, I just have to point this out before I get started, but this boy's haircut is one thing. It's is it just me, or his eyes are really close together? I remember these little boys were some badass little boys. It reminds me of like when we used to watch T.I. and Tiny and Nat King when he was a little boy. He was just always too much, and then he grew up to get in trouble over and over again. This is the same type of thing that I'm seeing with this kid. And this is a result of like watching your mama and daddy do whatever kind of nonsense they was doing over there to continuously get the police called to the house. So, and anyway, Kim Zolciak and Croy Bierman's teenage son, Croy Bierman Jr., has reportedly been arrested and is currently in police custody, facing allegations of aggravated sodomy and aggravated sexual battery stemming from alleged incident involving a teenage classmate at a gym. According to police documents, the alleged incident reportedly happened April 23rd, April, inside the gym after the two teens went into a co-ed sauna. The girl told police that Croy Jr. became physical with her despite her telling him to stop, and she made additional allegations of SA. The report states that an officer attempted to reach Croy Bierman Sr. in May regarding the investigation. Croy Jr. was ultimately arrested on August 17th, 2026, and remains in custody. So he's still in jail. Mugshot of the correct son is in the next post. Okay. Um Well, every time Nene's son get in trouble, they plastered it all over the internet. But this boy is still in jail, so that means they didn't even let him go home on bond. He looks crazy. It's because them eyes is almost touching each other. I don't think I've ever seen anybody whose eyes is almost touching each other. And that ugly hairdo. Them is some big jokers. Um, Those little boys were bad on their show. They were bad. They were bad, and they drunk mama walking around with a solo cup thought it was funny. Her and Croy both. I would say that's what all of these kids that be on TV, when they be little sassy ass, kids, it always turns out this way. Yes, child, sodomy. The people said he tried to put his tallywhacker in that little girl's mouth, and she wasn't having it. Right now, there's no DNA. These are all allegations. Nothing has been proved, allegedly, but we do know that his ass is deal down to the jailhouse. Kim and Croy are selfish parents who can't put their pride aside to raise civilized citizens. And they too busy over here dating a married couple. Kim's boyfriend, she got a man. We've talked about this before. There ain't nobody divorced. She got a boyfriend and he's dating the wife or ex-wife of her current boyfriend. So while they got all this, wife swap nonsense going on over here, her son is down to the jailhouse, and he looked like somebody who gets refused on a regular basis. I don't see no girls running over to be close up under his ass and them eyes that are damn near touching. How old is he? I don't know. I would say high school age at least. I'm gonna look. He may need. Wait, he may. You said may he needs a coupon to visit your son. I don't want no parts of that. I don't want no parts of that, child. I don't have no coupons available. And from what I heard, Kim don't pay her bills, so I need my money like the day of the appointment. How old? I just want to see. Somebody asked how old he is. Old is Croy. How old is Croy Bierman Jr.? He is 15. Jeez, oh Pete, 15 years old. I don't know. There's something really bothersome about that level of violence from a person that young. That means he just getting started. 15 years old and they talk about charging him as an adult. I wonder who is that girl? Who is her parents? Um, yeah, he's 15 years old. He looks like his mother. I don't know. I know he got some bad hair. Um, So this is the follow up to that. It says Kim Zolciak and Croy Bierman's daughter Kaya was sent to Croy's parents in Montana. She wasn't allowed to be near any boys unsupervised. According to the report from TMZ, Don't Be Tardy stars Kim Zolciak and estranged husband Croy Bierman sent Kaya to Big Sky Country to stay with Croy's parents. She was scheduled to be there for 3 weeks. She then would check in with mom and dad and see if she could stay longer. Kaya got a flip phone, which she could use for 15 minutes for 15-minute phone calls with each parent. So why are they regulating how much you talk to her parents? That's wild. There was very strict rule that she could not be left unsupervised with any boys around her age in middle school or high school. This is strange. It says, yeah, his classmate was not his first victim. Well, allegedly. I don't know that. And that's probably true. So there's a reason why they sent the girl, to his parents who they don't even allegedly talk to, as far as we know. Um, what age does Georgia start charging people as an adult? Well, this one is 15. And although the charges haven't been served yet, they still allegations. Like I said, he's still locked up. You said, why are they talking about the daughter? Did something happen? She sent the daughter away. That she sent the daughter away to the grandparents. I think it's weird to be like, you get 15 minutes a day to talk to each parent. Don't tell me oh, don't tell me about how often I'm going to talk to my kids. You said Croy's parents told him about kids. They did. Kim had a very strange relationship, estranged and on again, off again relationship with her own parents. Was he messing with his sister? Question mark. And I'll just leave it at that. There's a reason why they sent her away. The other girl is over here on Next Gen. Um, Ariel is over here on NYC Next Gen, and they got Bravo awards and things. I watch it like on and off. I don't really kind of keep up with them so much, but what a mess. So we know this won't be the end of that. Nene's son been in and out of jail, but he wasn't over there, ASS ulting women that we know about. Kim is very manipulative, so I would limit the daughter's call with her. Probably, you're right, because at the same time, we have to remember that Kim and Croy can't even get along with each other. So now they have to figure out how to deal with the situation with their son. KJ is the oldest. Then they got another one younger. He just as big as that one. And then they have the twins. So they sent the daughter, but there's another boy. Like Kaya is only one of twins. So why wouldn't they send the other boy? There's more. There's more to the story, child. And the way these people like to air their business on the internet, we bound to find out. We bound to find out what the tea is over here. We're gonna end with some housewives since we started over there. Portia's dumbass. She done posted so first Cynthia said, this is Twitter, I'm guessing, or Instagram. It says, I'm craving a salad. Can we start back eating lettuce? This is Cynthia. And Portia said, Lord, I never stop. What's wrong with it? What is wrong with her? What is she rock does she live under that she doesn't know what's going on with food and safety? And she's somebody's mama. So what are you feeding to your kid? Um It's apparently out here. Portia Williams is apparently out here living her best leafy green life, while Cynthia Bailey is wondering if it's finally safe to return to the salad bar. Cynthia kicked off her discourse on Threads, writing, I'm craving a salad. Can we start back eating lettuce? Portia quickly jumped into the comments with, Lord, I never stopped. What's wrong with it? Clearly unaware of the recent concerns, recalls that the public that have the public thinking twice before tossing greens onto their plate. Roa fans were quick to bring Portia up to speed with one person joking, "How you missed the explosive diarrhea virus, Portia? The lettuce hesitation comes amid recent concern over cyclospora, parasite that causes intestinal illness." These type of things have me questioning like where Portia be playing or not. You said I thought Croy Jr. was the twin. No, there's KJ, which is Croy Jr., and Cash. That's the one that came right after him. And then she had Kaya, and I don't know what that kid's name is, but yeah, there's twins. Kaya has a twin brother. Um, you said, oh, he needs to watch Real Housewives, Ultimate Girls Trip. She's not on there. She's not on there, but it's funny. I'll be reviewing it tomorrow. it's entertaining. It's a nice break from all of that drama that we generally deal with. I watched the reunion for Roa, and it was hard. I hate reunions. Um, yeah, no. Croy and Cash are not twins. They just back to back. And then she had the twins after them. So I don't know, for whatever reason she felt like she needed to send the girl away, but the boy is still at the house with all that foolishness that they got going on. Um you said they've been problems there have been problems with lettuce for many years. Chipotle almost went out of business because of it about a decade ago. Yeah, but there's also been a lot of conversation everywhere, all over the place. How did Portia avoid that? That's what I mean when I say sometimes people be playing dumb. She might really be that dumb. I don't know, child. Maybe she don't eat salad. This was her celebration. Since she put it up here, I'm gonna go ahead. Was Pilar's first day of school. Do y'all go this far? Happy first day of school. Welcome to second grade. So she's in second grade. She's doesn't know what's going on in the grocery store, but she got this whole setup for her first day of school. It's cute or whatever. People with money do what they do. I just think it's weird. This is the part that's weird to me. I get her and Dennis. This is the baby in the car.
It's PJ Day. Yeah. Everybody get up, it's PJ Day. PJ Day. PJ Day. Everybody moves up, it's PJ Day. A 1, 2, 3, go. It's PJ Day. It's PJ Day. Yeah. Everybody get up, it's PJ Day.
It's PJ Day, y'all. So, yeah, her mama went all out for her first day back to school. I don't know what any of this has to do with school, but people do a lot for their kids. Is it just me? I think it's a lot. Like the grandparents, everybody showed up to take the little girl to school on the first day of school. What is this? Not her mama teaching her anything because she don't even know what's going on in the world. She got toast, eggs, girl. I mean, I've been eating eggs too. I ain't gonna lie. How much bacon is this child eating? He got 5 pieces of bacon. This is a lot. Did y'all go out like this? I've seen a lot of people, with their first day of school pictures, as they often do. This was my question when I seen this, because the other day we were talking about the little kids going to school with the weave and thing. Is this too much? Portia got in the baby's hair? I'm just asking because they were saying the little kids look grown. They don't look like second grade. PJ got hair extensions in her hair for PJ Day. I thought your birthday would be PJ Day, but not around here. She definitely looks like Dennis and Portia at the same damn time. Yeah, she's 7 years old. She's going to second grade. They're acting like it's graduation or prom. It's a lot. I thought it was a lot. Uh, I ain't telling people how to raise their kids. I just was like, whoa, she part should be doing the most. I feel like they did this just for um social medias for content. PJ ain't gonna have no edges by 10. I was thinking it high vibe, but you the one that said it, because when I looked at this heavy ass hair, I was like, oh, that's a lot of hair on that baby's head. And it just seems a lot of heavy hair. Um, yeah. I'm gonna end with this, y'all. Bozoma St. John got married down to the Beverly Hills Housewives. I don't know if y'all watch Beverly Hills, but there was something that made me feel very uncomfortable about watching these white women dressed in African garb. But I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Monday. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, don't let all the bad news get you. We go from this point on. We discussed it. Now we're gonna start taking in the goodness, that the day brings. So here we go. We're gonna leave Bosoma St. John's wedding celebration.